We are live. Welcome to Rock and Recovery. I am Jay, and here soon we're going to have a speaker. She's a friend of mine. Her name is Haley. She's 36. She's been sober 6 years. We're going to hear her story. So we'll let her tell it. So welcome up, Haley. How's it going, Haley?
It's good, but you said I'm 36. I'm 32. Don't age me.
36, 32. Okay, it's close. I had a six right.
Yeah,
Come on, give me a
cool.
break. I don't have anything written down that says, I know we just talked about it like 10 seconds ago, but I don't remember that.
That's all right. I have a bad memory too.
All right. So we're just going to let you tell your story and go for it. Is this the first time you're telling your story?
Yes, it is.
Wow. And
Yes.
just telling it to millions potentially of people. Potentially
Jay,
millions and
don't mess with me right now.
All right. Go for it. It's all you.
Okay. Let's start off with my childhood. Well, as early as I can remember anyway. Um well, when I was about 2 years old, my parents ended up getting arrested, and they did prison time. They didn't get out until I was about like 8 years old. And I think this is really where like my abandonment issues started, because my mom, I saw her one time after she got out, and then she just moved to Florida, and I didn't hear from her, see her, know where she was until I was 19, and I went looking for her. My dad just started a whole new family, and he was like in and out of my life also until I was 19. And me and him ended up getting very close, but he ended up passing away when I was 22. He was a bigger man. He ended up having a heart attack. And my mom also ended up, because she never got sober, which I think it was a big part of it anyway, with schizophrenia.
Oh, yeah.
And she ended up unaliving herself about 8 months after my father passed away. But I was in foster care after they got arrested until my grandparents came and got me, but they were really old and sick. So I ended up moving in with my aunt and uncle. And that was a good 7 years of my life. I was there from 7 to 14. They were really like my parents. Um, they gave me everything I needed and wanted, but unfortunately, I was missing my family. My other part of my family that lived like an hour away, and I started acting up and running away and sneaking out at night. So I chose to move with my aunt down in Massachusetts. And
So you went from Florida to Massachusetts?
no, I was in New Hampshire with them. So and that's when things really just started going bad, because she let me do whatever I wanted. And I ended up meeting this boy that was the same age as me. We were 14. I was with him for about 5 years, and he was extremely abusive. Um, he broke two of my ribs, fractured my sternum, gave me a concussion, held a pointy thing up to me, and told me to beg for my life in front of our, at the time, 2-year-old child that I had when I was 17. And then I had my twins with him at 19. And because of the domestic violence in the relationship, I ended up losing my first 3 kids from him. And after that, it was like really bad. I was in such a dark place, and I ended up meeting people that were doing bad things. And
Kids due to just CPS or
yeah, yeah, they found out about all the violence in the home, and that's obviously not appropriate for babies to be around. And after they took them, it was just bad. People started offering me bad things. I'd take them. I would basically went from never touching a drug in my life to shooting things within 2 weeks of losing kids. And that started just a 7-year addiction. I ended up dating this 40-year-old man when I was just 19 that just fed me drugs to stay with him, basically.
To
And
control. Yeah.
you know that I don't even know what to say about the times when I was using. It was just all dark. There was nothing good about it. It wasn't like a fun party lifestyle, which people talk about even in the beginning. Like, it was
Right.
not fun. It was just
Or
bad fast.
for me too. I mean, we thought it was good, and maybe at the time, just because we weren't having to deal with reality, but really all it was just another way to not deal with reality. And we had our
Yeah.
own too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's basically what I was just doing, just numbing the emotions. I ended up in detox several times because the entire time I was using, I wanted to stop, or at least I thought I wanted to stop. I guess I didn't, because when you really, really want it, that's when you do stop. Um, I tried to. Can you say the S word on here? I don't know.
Or
Huh?
I got a beeper that I can beep you out. So go ahead and say it.
Okay, I tried to commit suicide about 3 times during the 7, 8 years I was on drugs. I had no family, no friends really. I felt very alone. I luckily didn't get in any trouble with the law. So I mean, that was a good thing.
Be lucky you didn't do that, because I did that route, and yeah, you don't want that.
I definitely got very fortunate there, because it's not like we didn't all do things to get in trouble with the law when you're doing that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I tried going to halfway houses, sober homes, all that didn't work. I would last like maybe 3 days.
Really.
Yeah.
And you
Um,
went to rehabs or just sober houses?
what?
Like sober living? You went to like sober living or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried the sober living thing. I just last like 3 days there, because I'm not a fan for rules. I'm still not. Still not at this point in time.
I don't think any of us really are.
Mhm. Yeah, they're just a rebellious people, you know?
Eh.
But I'll start off to where I started getting clean now. So I met my now husband, and he was about 8 months sober when we got together. Wasn't trying to turn back because, he got into the legal trouble. And he basically gave me an ultimatum, like, it's me or the drugs. And I wanted to get clean then anyway. And this sounds messed up, but I had a girlfriend at the time, and we just couldn't get clean together, me and her. It's just, I would want to get clean and she wouldn't, or she would want to get clean and I wouldn't.
Right. It's just a big cycle. You let's be real. You can't get clean with somebody else that's doing the same thing,
It's
because one
it's
or the
hard.
other. Yeah, it is really hard, and it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be harder, especially when you have somebody that's not fully committed as you are.
Mhm. I need to backtrack a little bit too. Part of my childhood too, which I think was also a big part that led to the drug use. I was essayed for several years during my childhood, and I think a lot of that trauma still affects me, and it definitely did while I was using too. And that's when I really started like remembering, and it's another reason why like I just wanted to be on drugs even more, because it would make me forget that.
Yeah. So what was your drugs of choice? Like,
um well, I started off with crack, but then once I found heroin, I didn't want anything else. And then obviously heroin turned to fentanyl, and I was in love with it. I really was. It was a tough addiction to beat too. I ended up getting on the methadone clinic too, which if anybody is on Matt, That's great. Harm reduction is great, but I personally ended up regretting getting on it because the detox was just so much worse than if I would have just detoxed off the fentanyl.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very long and drawn out and just so hard to get off of. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, I got with my husband. I ended up hiding my drug use from him for a couple months while we were together, probably about like 6-7 months before he really started to like realize like something's not right. You must still be on something. He threatened to leave me. Then he ended up becoming an alcoholic during this time, and that led to another domestic violence relationship. And it would really only be while he was drunk. And I know that's not an excuse, but we stuck with each other during that part. I now have 2 babies from him. We're still together, but not. You know the situation. But trying to work things out.
Well, that's
I
good
don't
that he's trying to work things out. Let's be real. You guys been together for how long?
8 years,
Yeah, it might be
7
something.
years.
You
Yeah.
know. What was your rock bottom? What made you decide you wanted to be sober?
I don't see. This sounds crazy, but I don't know if I really had a rock bottom during my addiction because I feel like my rock bottom was before my addiction, and that's why I started it. Like the losing my older 3 children, and I still don't get to see them much now because their father's family is just not really good people. But I do like talk to them on the phone and stuff like that. So I'm trying to fix that too because they have a lot of resentment towards me for instead of like working on getting them back, I just started using.
I know how that feels. Let's just put it that way. I know how that feels.
Yeah, I think just what really led to me actually quitting was I was just tired. I was just so tired. It wasn't like one specific thing. It was just tired from the whole 7 years just trying to come up with how I'm gonna get stuff every day and being so sick all the time.
Right. So you
I even
decided. So you just
yeah,
made a change, yeah.
I
Just
even ended up with Hep C.
yeah. So one day you just decided to change.
Yeah, I wanted it. I really wanted it, and I've never stopped wanting it. I've been chasing the recovery harder than I ever chased the drugs.
Yeah. And it happens that way too sometimes. We have to chase our sobriety and our recovery as harder than we chase the drugs. Because let's face it, the drugs came easy. They were easy to find. They
Yep,
were available. Sobriety and being sober and in recovery, that's hard to do. It's a daily struggle. It's harder than it was ever to go pick up a sack.
absolutely. A, a lot of it is like you need to work on the mental part of everything that led you there and kept you there, and that brings up a lot of emotions and trauma that sometimes make you want to go back out, but you just have to figure out how to deal with that in like healthy coping ways.
So, what are some of the coping ways that you've picked up along the way? What have you done to maintain your sobriety? And some of the things, the tools, the tips, anything you want to say about it?
I would say the first year, and not everybody's a fan of it, and you can absolutely stay sober without it. I was going to NA meetings 2 times a day, every single day the first year, and that like really like helped me want to stick in recovery. Then COVID hit,
Oh,
and it was only online meetings, and I could just never really get into those. So I stopped with the NA thing, and I started going to therapy for a while. That could be a really good tool for a lot of people too. Some people, I guess, though, I've heard that it hurts them more than it helps them. They don't want to deal with the traumas, but that's not going to work out term if you don't deal with everything that happened.
100% agree because eventually something's going to come up and bite you back in the ass, and it's going to be something that you can't handle.
Yeah,
So,
and
Absolutely,
Most
100%.
important part, you need a support system. You need people that genuinely care about you. That if you call them at 2 in the morning, they'll pick up the phone and they'll be there to talk you through things.
So, what's your support system? What does that look like?
My friends.
Yeah.
And I didn't have friends for actually a long time during my sobriety either, and I did start to feel very isolated, and then I met, honestly, you guys, Sarah, Bethany, Domain, you, and you guys have been a bigger help than you know, even just sitting there talking about nothing.
Right. You know, that's one of the first things that we lose while getting sober is our friends. Because
Mhm.
we're not a fun person anymore. We're not the person that wants to go have fun like they want to have fun anymore. And I did a little episode on boundaries yesterday, and that's one of the boundaries we got to maintain is being able to have relationships outside of addiction. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you also have to realize that those friends, they weren't really your friends, most of them anyway, because anybody who will give you drugs, they don't care about you.
They don't. You're absolutely right. They don't. And some of the things that we do in addiction, it's crazy. And let's be real, those friends weren't really friends, like Miranda down here saying. Those friends were not friends. And they were exactly right. They were dealers or users themselves. And
Yep.
they just wanted somebody else to either buy their supply or sell them some more or
Yeah.
that's all it was. And the fact that you got out of that, I've gotten out of that. A lot of people have gotten out of that and lost all those friends that weren't friends. Sometimes erasing your phone book, your contact list is sometimes the best thing you can do. I shut
That's
down.
that's what I did. I changed my phone number, deleted all my contacts, and another thing I skipped over because I am nervous right now, but I'm very lucky to have gotten out of it because I think we all know that fentanyl is a very dangerous drug, and I overdosed 3 times,
Yeah.
and thank God I was around people that were willing to help and call or had Narcan because a lot of people will just leave you there. They will. Seen it happen. I've heard about it happening.
I was on the other stuff that kept you awake all the time, but I still kept Narcan in my truck anywhere I go. I've still got some in my truck right now.
Yeah, I carry it too.
It's crazy because it's just something that will save somebody's life eventually one day. You know,
Mhm.
like I've never tried. Well, I can't say that. I'll take that back. I did try after my story. So after Brittany took her life, I thought about doing the same thing. I was up in the tree and everything, ready to go. And then an old person and his grandkid walked by. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I can't do that now. So that's probably one of the things that saved my life right
Yeah.
there. That and my higher power. Yeah. You know. So what are some of the struggles you go through daily in early recovery? What were some of the struggles that you were going through daily to deal, and what do you do to deal with it? I know you said NA. Did you do all
Yeah.
uh, did you do all the step work or
I haven't done the step work yet. I'm actually like looking to get into that because actually just found a sponsor like a month ago, and she sent me an AA book, and we're gonna work the steps. So it's never too late into sobriety if you want to do step work.
and I honestly think, not everybody's form of recovery is going to be the same. It's unique to each individual. Whatever recovery method works for the person, it absolutely works. That's fucking it. You know,
Yeah,
And the amazing thing about it is there's so many different ways to recover. You can just be sober. And
yeah,
you know what? Good for you. If you can stay that way without doing anything, I'm proud of you. You know, those of us that can't, well, you know, we're addicts. You know, we like doing things sometimes illegally. Who knows? But I commend you for getting sober. I mean, I know it's hard, especially in your situation. Everybody's situation is different. Your situation was the hardest thing you faced, and you got through it.
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself for that because you got through it. That's amazing. All the things that you're struggling with. And let's be real, men have it easier than women. I don't care. I'm a guy, and I'll tell you the truth. Men have it easier than women when it comes to living life in on the street or in a drug game. In the game, men have it a whole lot easier. Women, y'all go through some struggles, and it's not just that. It's the predators and the people that are taking advantage. There's so many of them out there that it's. I mean, every time I've talked to somebody, it's always included some type of abuse, especially from women, some type of abuse, sexual normally, and it's just I just can't wrap my hands around it. It's crazy, but it's true, you know. So you should be really proud of yourself. But what were some of the early struggles that you faced, and how'd you get through 'em?
I think the main thing was really like my PTSD from like just the violent relationship that I was in, and from the essay, and like I said, therapy. It was a big help to me. I'm hoping to get back into it actually because I need it. I do. Um, Therapy and just the as much as sometimes I don't like him, the support of my husband, because I do feel like I don't want to say I owe him because he was a big reason why I got sober, but I feel like I kind of do because he's always been one to like push me into staying sober.
Right. So did he have a problem himself? Or,
Yes, he was also on fentanyl. For I think he was on it for about 8 years too.
so did he get clean before you did, or did you guys meet while doing at being active addicts?
So yeah, he was about like 7 or 8 months sober when we got together. I already previously knew him because I used to be friends with his sister, and we ended up this is a story I'm never gonna tell my kids how we actually ended up together. We like met at the methadone clinic. We
Oh,
were in the same group, and then he has like beautiful eyes, and I couldn't stop staring at him. And then he noticed me staring at him, so he came up to me after group and was like, "Can I have your number?" And it was just started from there.
that's that's kind of cool. So back to these stories, back to early recovery. What kept you sober? What were some of the struggles, and what kept you sober doing that?
See, I don't know how to answer that really. Besides like the working through my traumas and my feelings, and also just whenever you have a triggering moment and you feel like using, just be like, I can make it 1 more hour. You have to believe it in your head and manifest it. Like I can do 1 more hour, and that those 1 more hours turn into 1 more day, and then 1 more week.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. All we have to do is make it 24 hours in a day. And let's be real, most of us normal people sleep about 8 of those hours. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those normal
Yeah,
people.
not you.
And a lot of other addicts are not us normal people, and we can't sleep that long, you know. And I can name a couple that are in here now, but I won't. You know, but so we have crazy hours, but we do what's best for us all the time. You, 8 hours in it. If you're sleeping 8 hours, you only have to make it 16.
Yeah, that's true. And now, like these days, what gets me through it, which I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had a trigger to use in a long time, actually. But if I if I'm even in a dark place now, I just look at my babies. Like they're the best things ever.
That's a motivation right there to stay clean and sober, right there.
And the fact that I'm hoping like one day I'll have like a really good relationship with my older kids too. So like I want when they come looking for that to be clean still, and for them to know that they're part of why I'm staying clean.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you something, but I just freaking squirreled right there.
You're stuck with me too, Sarah. I see that comment.
Yeah, I'm letting comments come through. I'm posting them as quick as they put them down there, you know. And one of the things I learned, I don't know. I mean, did you ever get the feeling that you have to sometimes feel your feelings and actually have to go through them and be mad or angry or whatever, sad before you can actually talk to anybody about it?
Um, See, I'm kind of like the opposite. I don't like do that. Like when I feel or think something, I say it like right away. I try to deal with it like right away just because like I don't know how to say it, like especially with the anger thing. I'm kind of an explosive person even in recovery. Like I have anger issues. That's also something I'm working on, and people need to know that too. It doesn't matter how long you've been sober. I have 6 years and almost in 2 months clean, and you're always gonna find things you need to work on. You're never gonna be perfect. You're never gonna be completely happy all the time.
Right. You just got to find those moments where you are at peace. I think I'd rather be at peace than be happy, you know, that
Yes.
I'm okay with myself, you know, and because if I can't be okay with myself, then I'm not going to be able to be enjoy anybody else either,
Yeah.
you know, even on a phone call or whatever. I'm not going to be able to do it, you know, and it comes out in our attitudes and the way we present ourselves and the way we talk to other people, you know, and I don't know. I think you're amazing anyway, Haley. So, you know, what would advice would you give to somebody?
I'm not good with advice. I feel
Oh,
like I give bad advice, but the main thing is really just I think I said it earlier too, just have a good support system because recovery is not something you can do alone. Just like what do they say? Never alone, never again.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. It's really true. Like you can't be alone. You can't isolate yourself in recovery.
That's very true. And okay, so there's a difference between being alone and isolation. Isolation is not talking to anybody. I mean, let's be real. There's good isolation and bad isolation though too.
Hmm.
I can isolate for somebody else's protection, you know, because I'm in a mood and I don't feel like talking to anybody. And then, you know, so I'll isolate myself instead of accidentally taking something else out on somebody I care for.
Yeah, there is good isolation. Definitely, sometimes you do need to just take time for yourself.
Yeah. And then there's those other times that people won't let you take time for yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
Yeah. There's a few of you in here. I could, but I won't, you know. But yeah, there's those times that sometimes we just like being by ourselves. I'm comfortable now being by myself. You know, I used to not be. I used to be very uncomfortable being alone or being lonely, I should say,
Yeah.
because it's two different things. Lonely and being alone are way two different things. I'm comfortable with being alone, you know, because I'm not lonely. You know what I mean?
See, that's another thing I still need to work on too. I'm a very codependent person. I can't stand being alone.
Oh, that's why you got a cat and two kids, huh?
Yeah.
So what else do you have to say to anything, anybody out there listening? And there's going to be lots of people listening, Haley. Just remember
Go away.
that.
Oh, I was just trying to read that comment, but I'm a little
Bam. Is
okay.
talking, yeah, not bleeding on other people, not letting our hurt others.
Yeah, that was a feel like I told my story a little fast. I probably missed a lot of it again too, but I did better than I did last time I shared my story.
Here's the thing about our stories: the more we tell them, the more we remember, and the more we forget that we said. You know, like that we forgot that we included. So, like right now, our stories are the same. It's just added details and added memories. You
Yeah.
know, so it's crazy how that works, how the minds works. It's not normal. What's not normal?
Yeah, it's like this morning when I something like brought up a past memory that, like, I didn't even realize still hurt me. Like, when we were talking to Bethany and we hung up the phone, and I just started thinking about, like, her kids while she's locked up, and then I remembered, like, leaving the prison with my parents and, like, turning around, looking out the back window and was trying to leave and just crying because I missed them so much, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't stay with them. But it's just like memories pop up all the time that, like, thought you forgot about, but then something triggers them.
So, what are some of the most triggering things for you personally, if you're comfortable
Um,
with talking about it?
the most triggering things for me would definitely it'd still be my parents, specifically my mom, because I never got to, like, have that relationship with her before she um unalived herself. And then the abuse, not from my husband, because I'm gonna tell you, with him, I'm gonna be completely honest, I've abused him too. But with my first kid's father, because I never put my hands on him. He scared me to death. Like, he really would have. I think I wouldn't be here today if I would have stayed with him.
Oh, I'm glad you got out of that situation. And so, to avoid or to work through your triggers, what do you do? I know you said earlier that you've never been triggered. I personally have never been triggered myself. I mean, there's been times where that it was such a natural thing to go get a bag and use it
Mhm.
that I thought about it, in certain situations. I'm like, I feel like it, but I didn't need it. Like, because I felt like it because it was the thing that I used to do all the time and how I used to cope with things. So that being like that, I've never actually been triggered by anybody or any situation that I haven't been able to handle so far. And most of the time I have to do that, get it out of my head, so to speak. So I have to get out of my head and then be able to talk about it. So what is your process on that?
Well, I'm not saying I've never been triggered. I've definitely had triggers early in my recovery. It's just been, like, the past probably, like 2 or 3 years I haven't had a trigger, but my main triggers were really like people that I was around, like, that I used to use with, or, like, places that would remind me of it. And I know for a lot of people that's not really a problem, but I just stay away from them. Like, I even had this best friend, and she started using again during our friendship, and I had to cut her off too. That wasn't the only reason. I'll not get into that one.
You know, it's crazy that the amount of friends that we thought were friends. So after a year and 14 months ago, my wife committed suicide through her drug addiction and depression. She dealt with all that, but she committed suicide. I haven't heard from one person in my life back then. I have one good friend. I will call her my best friend. Her name is somebody else's name in here too, Jamie. But she talks to me once in a while. She lives in Colorado still, but that's the only person that has ever talked to me and still does from that past life. So it's crazy that you know that we lose all these people that weren't meant to be in our life, and I think it opens us up to realizing what we're not going to accept. You
Yeah,
know,
it
it,
is kind of crazy because I think there's people that maybe, like, we genuinely care about while we're in our addiction, but then you realize once you get sober that they didn't genuinely care about you. And
right
it's a tough pill to swallow, but I mean, some people are just meant to stay in your life just for a season, not forever.
for a season. That's correct. And so they say change people, places, and things. So did you do any of that?
Yeah. Um, I I moved. I stopped talking to basically everyone I used with, besides one person I can't seem to stay away from forever. And but every time I go back to that too, it leads me nowhere good. It hasn't led me back to using, but it puts me in a darker place and a bad situation every time.
Yeah. That it does happen to have an effect, especially if it's not the most healthy person and they don't respect you or they're still using. It will bring you back to a dark place.
Yeah.
And it can happen. It can happen instantly too, and that's the crazy thing, that it can just happen. No, we don't know why, it just does.
Hmm.
I think it's all those memories of what was or what isn't, and then they bring up all those feelings of, well, you're not really worth it either. So because of it just brings up terrible feelings sometimes.
Yeah.
And it sucks when that happens, but it happens a lot to us. I'm sure it happens to you just as much as it happens to me. And we still are here, still talking about it, still doing the next right thing, and that's what the main thing is. That's what counts. Oh no, you got anything to add, Haley?
No, I think that's it.
No, you need to still talk.
Huh?
I think you need to stop, talk some more. Talk.
I don't
Never.
know what to talk about. We at least lasted 36 minutes.
Hell yeah. Well, I thank you for being my very first guest, as my earbuds about to fall out. They don't stick very well.
Thanks
But
for asking me to share.
absolutely, I'm glad you did. Uh, and I'm sure you're gonna. I think the more we tell our stories, the more chances that we're going to reach somebody that needs to hear that story. So I really think that it's beneficial, not just for us, but for everybody else too. Our stories will be somebody else's survival guide.
Yeah.
And the way I did it, the way you do it, the way anybody else is doing it in recovery is the way we do it, and all we talk about is our experiences going through it. Now, we don't tell anybody to do anything, you know, because who are we? We can't tell anybody to do anything. We are professional fuck ups. I know I have a PhD in fuckery, you know, and it's just our stories are meant to be told. They're never going to end. Until we're done, they're never going to end. And the way we do it is the way we do it. And as long as we're not hurting anybody and our intentions are pure, who cares? Right?
Absolutely.
I thank you again for joining me on this first ever guest, Haley, right there. I am proud of you, Haley, and I just want you to know that you are worth it. I value you, and you're a great friend.
I value you too.
Good. You better. You were my
And
first.
I'll never leave you alone. So
Oh, shit. Damn it. Okay.
all
Well,
right.
that's it for today. Come back at 3 because we got another person coming on, and we'll go from there. Tomorrow's a new day.
Bye
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.